All right, continued. So this is from the news publication online Public Citizen at citizen.org. Dr. Robert Steinbrook, Health Research Group Director at Public Citizen, issued the following statement. Everything is wrong with awarding this unsolicited single source grant, including the approval process, concerns about conflict of interest, and the dubious ethics of research. Newly born children, regardless of where they live, should be protected against hepatitis B by receiving the first dose of vaccine within 24 hours after birth, as recommended by WHO, leading medical professional organization worldwide. And until earlier this week by the CDC, the benefits of the birth dose of hepatitis B vaccine extended throughout life are not limited to 5 years after birth. The CDC should not fund a study involving children in another country, West Africa, Guinea-Bissau to be exact, that would be unethical to conduct in the United States. The award should be paused. The full study protocol should immediately be made public and receive independent scientific and ethics review in both Guinea-Bissau and the United States. Bioethics and medical professional organizations must demand that the CDC reconsider this outrageous grant award. Additional background on the study. Although details are lacking, study participants will be randomly assigned to receive hepatitis B vaccination at birth, and the future policy Guinea-Bissau has recommended by the World Health Organization, or not hepatitis B vaccine at birth, the current policy. With the first dose at 6 weeks of age, Guinea-Bissau, which has a high prevalence of chronic hepatitis B infection, is implemented at a universal hepatitis B vaccine policy for newborns starting in 2027. In the U.S., the CDC recently adopted AICP recommendation to replace the long-lasting standing and highly effective universal practice of administering the first dose of all hepatitis B vaccine at birth to all newborns with individual-based decision-making. In consulting with a healthcare provider for parents deciding whether to give the birth dose vaccine to infants born to hepatitis B surge antigen HBsAg negative women. Here's the issue. Hang on. The United States bids a no contract to Denmark scientists studying hepatitis B in West African babies. This is from AP News. Story was last updated at 4:54 p.m. December 19, 2025. The Trump administration has awarded a $1.6 million no-bid contract to Danish University to study hepatitis B vaccinations on newborns in Africa that is raising ethical concerns. The unusual contract was awarded to scientists who have been cited by anti-vax activists and whose work has been questioned by leading public health experts. Some experts have suggested that the research plan is unethical because it would withhold vaccines that work from newborns at a significant risk of infection. The contract did not undergo a customary ethics review, the Associated Press learned. The Centers for Disease and Prevention awarded the grant to a research team at the University of Southern Denmark that has been lauded by U.S. Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. I think the F is starting to really stand for fucked up. One of the team's leaders is Christian Stabell Ben, a consultant for a Kennedy-appointed committee that recently voted to stop recommending a dose of hepatitis B vaccine for all U.S. newborns. The study is to begin early next year in Guinea-Bissau. an impoverished West African nation where hepatitis B infection is common. The researchers are funded for 5 years to study 14,000 newborns. It is to be randomized controlled trial with some infants given the hepatitis B vaccine at birth and some not. Children will be tracked for death, illnesses, long-term developmental outcomes. Most of the children will be followed for less than 2 years to look for side effects, but the first 500 enrolled will be followed for 5 years to look for behavior and brain developmental problems. There is no placebo involved, according to the copy of the study protocol prepared earlier this year that was obtained by AP. Hepatitis B can be passed from an infected mother to a baby. It can also spread by other infected people a baby comes in contact with. That's why when you go into prisons, they give you that test. Research and widespread medical consensus hold that hepatitis B vaccine protects newborns. So withholding it from some babies, in this case, black babies, have raised ethical alarms. Medical evidence is clear that vaccine protects infants from developing liver disease and an early death. The well-documented infection risk far outweighs hypoethical concerns about side effects, says Dr. Boghuma, Boghuma, Boghuma K. Have no idea. I don't even feel like trying to pronounce it. Titanji, 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 I think. An Emory University infectious disease doctor. She called the study unconscionable and said it will likely exacerbate existing vaccine hesitancy in Africa and elsewhere. There is so much potential for this to be harmful, said Titanji, who is from Cameroon. Ben did not respond to an email seeking comment about the proposal. I bet he didn't. An automatic response said she is out of the office until early January. I bet it did. But in a statement, the research team said that the study will be the first and likely the only one of its kind. They said it takes an advantage of an unusual window of opportunity. Guinea-Bissau does not currently recommend a birth dose of Hep B vaccine, but the nation will be implementing universal vaccination of newborns in 2027. Vaccine skeptics and opponents have suggested that all vaccines' possible side effects, inadequate study before the CDC began recommending it for newborns in 1991. Public health experts counter that over more than 3 decades, no serious side effects has begun. Hold on. Public health experts counter that over more than 3 decades, no serious side effects has been documented. The award is highly unusual. The CDC did not announce a research funding opportunity and invite proposals. The proposal was unsolicited and the award did not go through the customary review, said the CDC official with knowledge of the decision. The Department of Health and Human Service officials told CDC officials to approve it and said HHS would provide special funding for it, the CDC official said. In private communication channels, CDC staffers were expressing outrage about the award, said the official who is now authorized to talk about it and spoke on the condition of autonomy. Some of those CDC scientists have compared the work to the infamous Tuskegee study, which the agency oversaw in its later stages. In that decades-long study, health workers withheld treatment from unsuspecting black men infected with syphilis so doctors could track the horrible ravages of the disease. You know, since they brought up the Tuskegee experiment, I urge people to look at a study that they did at the Holmesburg State Prison in Philadelphia. This is the shit you get when you put unqualified people